Trace is one of the techniques on here that I use probably the most. And it allows you to take something that you find online and like automatically make it into a vector. And you can also do this with your own drawings. So say that you do a drawing and maybe it's a good idea to have those drawings be inked before you bring them into the program so that it shows up really well. I'll show you examples of that in just a moment. But and then they'll be in this vector program so that you can modify them, add color, quickly alter color, try out various color schemes and that sort of thing. So the first thing that you would need to do is get in a picture of something. So, okay, I'm just going to grab this apple here. I'm on an apple kick right now. Okay, and then I know that you guys all have your own ways, whether that is file in place or dragging that picture in there. As you can tell, this is a big image, right? I'm going to show you that there's complications when you take such a big image and bring that into this program, especially with this technique, because it's going to take forever. So the way that you do this is Object Live Trace. You can just straight up make it and expand, or make and convert to Live Paint. I'm going to show you alternate ways to get all those options, but to have all those outcomes, but with more options by this. If you get this warning, that means that you're going to have some extra wait time to allow the computer to process what you're asking it to do. And as always, make sure that the preview is turned on. So what you'll see, there's a variety of presets right here. And when you get into these presets, so like here, it's taking a really long time to make that happen. And so this is color 6. Yeah, right. Okay. So true. Very true. Maybe I'm showing my impatience here. You can also increase the amount of colors that you see on here. So if we increase that up to, I don't know, 73. That's taking longer. A little longer, right? Now it starts to look more realistic. If I were to say, okay, now trace that, and I go in here, you'll see, even though from far away it still looks good, it looks like the image. This is a vector version of this JPEG image. So that's kind of a quick way. Now, if I were to hit expand, that means that now I can see all of my anchor points. That thing is totally like all blue. It's all anchor points. So that's now going to be a very large image for this program to process.
Don't put too much colors if you want.
Right. Or you really start to pay attention to how big the sizes are. So when I look at this picture that I grabbed, that's over 2,000 for each side. That's a really big image. Whereas, like, let's say that one's also pretty big. Basically, anything that's over that 1,000 mark, there's 3,000. That would take forever. Is
And I believe like the average monitor is like
That one's smaller.
There's our
8? Yeah. So here's one that's 800. And now if I bring that in here, where'd you go? Now, if I go to Live Trace it, things are going to go much more quickly. And so, play around with some of these different options, these presets. When you think of technical drawing, some of these maybe aren't what you have in mind about what comic art is, or what a technical drawing is, or what an inked drawing might be. But do play around with the threshold. This is probably the most important thing for you to adjust on here, is the threshold. And now let's go back to the simple 6 color. In this, you see where it says palette right here?
Yeah.
And it says automatic, okay? That's my only option. Now let me open up my swatches. And let's go to something, ooh, here, let's do neutral or metallic. Where's the, didn't I have metallic? Whatever. Neutral. Okay, now let me go back and tracing options, click my preview, and I'll do that simple 6 color again. Now, as long as that color swatch library is open, I can have that be selected, and now it's automatically going to take from that group of colors, which is kind of cool. So if you know the color scheme that you want the object to be, you can automatically import those colors into it. So once I have that traced, up here on your top menu bar, you can also go down here and drop down to those presets and like quickly change those up again. It'll automatically kind of go back to that. I can click that button to, have this window open again. And now if I click expand, now that's how I can alter. Now I would be able to go in and I can maybe pick different colors, or if I wanted to modify the shape of that, I certainly could. If I want to get rid of that background in here, when you expanded it, everything is automatically grouped together, so they're like glued together. So I can go object ungroup, and sometimes it takes a couple of ungroups to get that figured out, but now my background's gone.
Told me that yesterday.
Well, because I'll connect with you again. So that's something that's cool. I thought there was something else with this part. Oh, let me take a step back. Instead of expanding this as well, what I could do is I could take this and make this into a live paint group. And now I'd be able to take my paint bucket tool and I can dump my own colors in each of these. Maybe I want to do it with patterns. I don't know, that'd be kind of cool. Or really bright colors, make a really funky sort of apple. And so then you'd be able to dump colors in there and make your own image. So now that's doing a picture from online. Now the other thing that you can do is bring in a scanned image. So if you get me the picture, your drawing, I'll go and I'll scan it in and I'll send it to you in an email, and then you get it up on your screen. This is just a picture from my sketchbook. I don't know, I was outside drawing one day and I did this like deconstructed version of my backyard. And so I brought this in here. And so if I do the same thing, live trace, yes, go ahead. Oops. And now here is when you're really going to have to play around with this threshold, because, and it's going to be a little finicky, because you want to get just enough so that you have nice clear lines, but not, here, let me zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit better.
There's a box that says do not show us again.
Yeah, I know. Then it'll never show me again.
Exactly. You won't okay.
But then when I teach it, then I can't be like, oh yeah, and you're going to see this. Anyways. Okay, so that's pretty good, right? If I were to go even just a couple more steps further, my lines start to get pretty or if I go all the way to the edge, I guess that's where I was seeing it before. Things start to get pretty blurry. So this is about finding the right balance of a clear line and not. And so, okay, now I'll trace that. And again, like I could grab my live paint now and I could start to paint in some of these different sections that I see. So that's pretty cool. Something that you might notice as you do this, see how it wants to take and it wants to fill this whole area. That's because it doesn't have anything, it doesn't have a different border to play around with. So instead, I might want to add, whoa. a different, a new border in there so that that coloring book has an edge to it. We've talked about that in the live paint section of things. And so I'm just going to give this a different background so that we can kind of see it. Now, if I select both of these together and I have a button up here now that my button has changed, merge the live paint group. Now I'm going to be able to add that to it. And now I'm able to get into these areas independently a little bit better. It looks like I might have to play around with that a little bit more to make sure that my gaps aren't too much. So that is how to use Live Trace. Doesn't it sound fun?